You don't have to use it. It's that simple, really. Right, so we'll put the ball to the side for now and just add it as we go. So we're going to just think about our posture, our setup, and how we stay nice and tall for the next 45 minutes at least, even when we're lying down. So when you're ready, we're going to come to our set position. Your heels hip distance apart. All 10 toes point forward, which I know sounds stupid, but sometimes we tend to turn the feet out a little. So once you've got the feet aligned up, the knees want to be tracking in line with your toes. Have a little rock backwards and forwards, and just let the weight mainly sit back into your heels. But still feel that you have a connection through the balls of your feet. You should be able to wiggle your toes so you're not gripping with the toes. As we work up our legs, we're going to relax and soften through the knees. As we breathe in, we're going to try and breathe length of the spine, like you're creating a little bit of space between each vertebrae so you're nice and tall. And then gently roll the shoulders back and draw the shoulder blades down, like you're sliding your fingertips down towards your knees. Now from there, the head sometimes tends to drop forward. So just gently draw the chin back towards the throat. Crown of the head, like you've got a piece of string tied to your head, pulling you up a little bit taller. And now, thinking about the ribs soften down a little, just so you're not over flaring with the ribs, because when the ribs push forward, the lower back tends to arch more. When that happens, the tummy muscles are a little bit longer. So we're going to keep the ribs down and in position, and we're going to come to our pelvic tilt. So we take a breath in. With the out breath, your hip bones try and point upwards towards the ceiling. Now as you point your hip bones back to the floor, try to push the rib cage forward. And the movement might be quite small, but again, as you're keeping the rib cage still, we're letting the work come through the lower abdominals, and it's helping to lengthen and stretch through our lower back. Sometimes it's easy to get the back rolling, but we lose that deeper work and that connection into our lower back. So really work on trying to point the hip bones towards the ceiling. And again, as you point them down, try and drop the rib cage, push forward. Just doing 2 more nice and slow. Breathe in, you let the hip bones point to the ground. And then breathe out with your tuck. And then settling midway between those 2 points. So your hip bones stay forward, and you've got that equal connection through the front and the back. So your back muscles aren't too tight into squashing into your lower back, and your tummy muscles aren't too lengthened. So once you've got that position set, and the shoulders are still drawing back and down, just sway forward onto the balls of your feet. Keep the weight into the feet rather than going into the toes. Lift the arms, and then take a little sway back into your heels. When you come forward naturally, your ribs might want to collapse down towards the hips, but try and think about maintaining the length through the spine. The tailbone still softly drawing down towards the heels. And whenever you're ready, you might allow the arms to come a little bit higher. And this starts to wake up the muscles through the back that support and stabilise the spine. If you want to go a little bit further, don't do that. Do this instead. Just let the heels lift off the ground, and again keeping the weight into the balls of your feet, and then take a little sway back and let your toes lift. Try and breathe out as you come forwards. Gentle breath in as you sway back. And we're going to do that just twice more. So again, we're just starting to move and still working quite hard to maintain our posture as we change our centre of balance. And then resting there in the centre. Into your tandem stance, just bringing your right foot in front of your left. Draw the tailbone down, weight even between both feet and relax into the knees. Palms face the ceiling, shoulders draw back and down. Again, hold the ribs down using the upper abdominals, and then you can come into your dumb waiter. So this is getting into the upper back and the mid back. And this starts to work the muscles between the shoulder blades. And they're the ones that can tend to get a little bit lengthened if your back rounds, the shoulder blades separate and come apart a little. So when you're in this position, you're staying it nice and tall, you're just thinking about trying to squeeze the shoulder blades together. And use the out breath each time you squeeze into the shoulders, and in breath as you close. Very aware again that you're not pushing forward with the ribs and using the lower back. You're trying to keep your tummy muscles engaged, keep the neutral spine, so all the work again just through the upper back. And just twice more here. We're going to do one more exercise for the shoulders, and then we're going to add in some ball work. So bringing the arms down. Change feet, so your tandem stance, your left in front of your right. Again, balance your weight. This time, your thumbs to your thighs. Roll the shoulders back and slide your fingertips down to the floor. So you're creating as much space as you can between your ears and your shoulders. Draw the abdominals in so you're in neutral. And then just push your hands back and turn your palms together. And release. And again, push back as if you're pushing your hands through water, and then try and squeeze the shoulder blades together and release. Now again, when you squeeze the hands together, don't be tempted to push the ribs forward again. The whole time now we're thinking about maintaining our set position. Now if you're a little tighter through the front of your shoulders, you may feel that you're almost using the back to try and get the hands behind. So if that's happening, reduce the range of movement, keep reaching the hands down, push back as far as you can, and just turn the palms. And again, as you feel ready, you can maybe get the hands to come almost together. And we're going to do 2 more there. So again, just starting to wake up the muscles, do the upper back, and then switched on to help us maintain our posture to our upper body. And then step your feet in under your hips. If you grab your ball, let's start with the ball in the right hand. We come into our side bends, left hand to the head, shoulders back. Neutral spine, so you have your tailbone tucked, and just gently rolling down your thigh, and then bringing your shoulders back above your hips. And just something on mute, so keep going there. Try and breathe in as you lower down. Now think about the weight again, even through both feet. Because what will tend to happen is as you ease to your right, your left foot wants to lift, trying to allow you to go further. So let's press down into that left foot. Let's really work to find a stretch between the ribs and hips. So let the elbow, if you can, point up towards the ceiling. Or the sky, in my greatest case. Breathe in as you lower down, and then breathe out on the way back up. And your last 2, trying to go a tiny, tiny bit further. And again, always good to get that back and spine moving. Changing sides. So ball to your left hand side. Roll the shoulders, weight sits through the feet evenly. Right hand can lift, but the shoulders still down away from the ear. And as you're rolling to the side, the ear, shoulder, hip, knee and ankle, you're trying to keep aligned. Now try and breathe in as you ease down. You can take a little pause at the bottom, and then just as you start to rise, you're going to breathe out through the mouth. So maybe a pause, and then a strong out breath. Again, almost lifting up through your right elbow like it's trying to touch the ceiling. And twice more this side. Okay, with your last one, resting in centre. Bring the ball in front of your thighs and roll your shoulders back. We're going to come into foot pedals and add some rotation through the spine. So your ball, chest height, shoulders roll back. Lift your right heel and then place it down. And then your left heel and place it down. Now you can turn your head. As you come into your foot pedals, you're pushing your knee forward, so it's tracking in line with the toes. You're also keeping neutral spine, so you have that little tuck under with your bottom. So when you lift from one heel to the other, the hips don't drop out from side to side. So we're going to do 2 more here on each side, and then we're going to slightly change that pattern. So your last one, each way, and then resting in the centre. Now in the centre, you're going to try and lift both heels. So you're starting with the heels lifted. As you take your right arm back, your left heel comes down. Then lift both heels into the centre. Left arm, right heel, and then up in the centre. Breathing in through the nose, out through your mouth. Again, just let the heel lightly touch the ground, and then squeeze back up through the calf. So you're pressing down through the ball of your foot, trying to pull the heel nice and high away from the ground. Now as you lower your heel, have the feeling the crown of your head stays drawn up to the ceiling. You're trying to lengthen all the way through the back of your body. Shoulders are relaxed, still down away from the ears, and the ball's just staying in line with your breastbone. And once more over to your left for I wobble over. And then bring both heels down. From here, fall in front of your thighs, the shoulders roll back, take your right leg back and straighten your right leg. Hinge forward, and when you hinge forward, you're also drawing the belly button towards the back and the ball sits just in front of your left knee. Keeping the shoulders away from the ears, this time the ball just coming out to the side. Now we're looking for stability through our left leg. Now as we're starting to move with the ball, you're trying to keep the leg, the hips and the spine nice and still. You can allow your head to turn. But as your head starts to turn, try and make sure your body doesn't start to rock from side to side. You might notice you start to grip with your toes, so try and relax the toes through your left foot and keep the weight sitting back into that left heel. Again, nice strong out breath as you lift. In breath on the way down. The knee gently pressing outwards towards the little toe. So that's helping to keep the muscle down the outer thigh switched on. And we're going to do that once more on each side. And then we're going to rest in the centre. So staying here. Lift your back leg. Bring your knee to the ball. Now you can either tap your foot down as you lift the arms, or you can stay with a little hover of the foot. We're going to go for 8 here. When your knee comes forward, it just lines up with the left knee. And then when you extend the leg back, nice straight leg and a strong squeeze into the bottom. Still keeping the left knee slightly soft. And still try not to grip with your toes. Last time. And then step in. That's your left foot working. Now it's taking your right. So from here, the feet are hip distance. Left leg steps back. Leaning forward, so again you've got that nice diagonal line. The ankle, the knee, the hip, the shoulder and the ear all in line. Ball just in front of your kneecap, chin tucked in and drawn up towards the throat. And then again you can keep your eye gaze just forward of your foot. And again, keep drawing the chin back. So if the chin starts to come forward, the head starts to drop, the back starts to round. So the more you draw back from the chin, lift up through the spine and roll back with the shoulders, that's going to help to maintain a nice strong set position. Then you might feel ready to add a little turn with the head. Breathing out with each lift. Gentle breath in as it comes down. Gently squeezing through the front of your left thigh, so it's a nice strong leg behind. You might notice your ribs start to collapse a little down towards the hips. So again, pull up through the rib cage. Keep drawing the tailbone back towards the heel, and that's going to help to maintain that neutral spine as you move. Okay, once more over to your left, and then you're going to bring your left knee in. So your knees come next to each other, your foot taps, extend and tap. So you're breathing out and a soft breath in. Again, you've got that slight hinge forward from the hips, and as you're moving, the arms and the leg shouldn't change the position of your spine. So again, you feel the tailbone softly tucking under. And if you're struggling to keep that alignment, just reduce your range, tap the foot to the floor and just bring the ball to shoulder height. It's better than trying to go higher and then hold back, get involved, because that's when your toe muscles aren't holding. So drawing the belly towards the back, 3 more, breathing out with each lift. And then when you finish your last one, you get simply step in, give your legs a little shake. Now for some lunges with some ball passovers. So let's bring the left leg forward because the right leg wants a little rest. Right leg, front of your left, feet, hip distance and square your hips. Draw the tailbone under so your hip bones are forward and you've recreated your square. Ball to your right thigh, ease into your back knee. Breathe in, lift the ball. Breathe out, pull it down. and then rise back into the centre. Breath in, out with a lift, breath in, got the breath right this time, and out to rise. So in through the nose, out through your mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Start to feel the back of your shoulders, especially when you pull the ball down here. Really pull down from your shoulder blades. When you lift the ball, don't let the shoulders rise. Keep holding the shoulders down and then pull them down further as you bring the ball down. So you're constantly keeping that connection into the back of the shoulders for your stability. Now the next time you're at the bottom, your option is to lift the heel with the ball and then push it tall. And that even rhymed. Breathe in, out with your lift, in as you lower, out on the rise. 2 more. So again, keep gently drawing the chin back, so the ears, shoulders, hips, they're in a nice straight line. Always keeping nice posture as we move. Stepping forwards, changing legs. So when you're ready, left leg back. Again, feet hip distance, square the hips, tuck under at the bottom, roll back with the shoulders. As you go down to the back knee, let's find the stretch here, the front of your hip. So to help get that stretch, tuck under the bottom, and then lift the ball. And then pull it back down through the shoulders, and come up tall. Now the front knee stays over the heel. You're not allowing that front knee to slide backwards and forwards. As you lower into your lunge, every time the movement is led from the back knee coming down towards the ground. Sometimes we tend to pull this knee back and then we tend to push it forward and back. That knee wants to stay with a little bit of softness as you rise. But again, the knee is always stacked over the heel. And then it's in a perfect position to add in your heel raise. Breathing in, out on the rise. In through the nose. And again, you can keep the foot on the floor, which I seem to have done. Or from here, you can lift the heel and then place it down. And again, keep pushing that front knee forward so it stacks directly above the heel. And 4 more if you can. No rush. There's plenty of time. So all the deeper muscles work even longer for your stability, for your balance, and of course, still keeping really nice posture through the upper body. When you have finished your last one, put your weight into your front heel and step your feet together. Perfect. Right, to do a little deadlift, but for a stretch in our hamstrings. So the ball in front of your thighs, you're going to roll back with the shoulders, and imagine you're holding a 50p piece between your shoulders, shoulder blades. That's going to help to keep the shoulders apart at the front. Now what we're trying to do is maintain that length and the openness across your chest. Feet at hip distance and knees are soft. Keep the length in the spine, but push the hips back to the point where you feel a stretch down the back of your thighs. Now sometimes we tend to round the back, which means we end up losing the stretch and we have to go further to find it. So your challenge is just to maintain length in your spine as you tip forward. So the bottom slightly pushes back behind the heels. You have your tailbone tucked, you find the stretch, make sure the ribs haven't slid down towards the hips. Where you feel the legs stretching, just press through the heels and drive your hips forward. The hips must go back, back, back. That's it, keeping the length in the spine, feel the stretch down to the hamstrings. Press up through both heels when you're ready. Little tuck, breathing in, stretching down the back of the legs, and then breathing out on the way up. Keep your shoulder blades squeezed together, and also try and think about keeping the elbows pointing towards the back of the room. If the elbows start to point to the sides, it tends to let the back round as you come forward. If I keep my elbows back, it keeps that squeeze through the shoulder blades, and it just really helps to maintain the alignment of your spine, so you can really start to feel the stretch in your legs. 4 more in your own time. Breathing in, a little pause, breathe out, push down through the heels. As you push down to the heels, think about squeezing the bottom to drive your hips forward. Last two, really open, across the chest, across the collarbones. And one last time. So that's a nice bit for the stretch. Now you can take your left leg forward. You're just going to stretch one leg this time. So your right leg behind, left foot forward. Same movement, you're going to roll the shoulders back. Now this time as you tip forward, your leg lifts at the same time. If you find this difficult, just stay with the double leg. Then you're going to push through the heel to bring yourself back up, just to the point where the foot rests on the ground. So the shoulders back, tummy drawn in. In breath as you tip forward, weight into the heel, now push down through the heel. Now we're going to add on. So as you come forward this time, hold. Bring your arm out to the side to the right with the ball. Bring it back in front of your thigh and then push through your heel. Again, your option from here is to keep the foot down, bring the arm out and then push forward. Breathing in through your nose, trying to relax through your toes. And your last two. Think about the shoulders still gently squeezing together. Try not to lock out your left knee, so it keeps the knees soft. And then step in. Give it a shake. Changing legs, so you'll roll the left foot behind this time. Lengthen. So again, posture set, core strong, shoulders roll back. As you hinge forward, don't let the shoulders come forward. So you're constantly trying to pin those shoulder blades back and down into the ribs. Remember, it's a hinge forward, so you're tipping from the hips. Adding on the movement next, so as you hold forward, your left arm comes out to the side, into the centre, and then push through the heel. Back leg straight. Shoulder blades squeezes back, and as one arm moves, the opposite arm stays in the centre. So your right arm stays still, left shoulder blade squeezes back a little bit more, and you're pushing out the heel on the way up. Again, last two. Trying to lock out that right knee. You're gently holding the belly button towards the back. And then push into the heel, and then you may step together and give your legs a little shake. We're going to come down to the floor and we can do some core work next. So if you come down to the floor when you're ready. Wake up with a nice simple. They always start simple. Ball roll. So what we're going to do from here is, as we lie down, we just place the ball underneath our right foot. So the ball literally wants to sit under the arch of your foot. The feet aren't too close, not like when we do a bridge, just a little bit further like when we do our knee lifts. As you lie down, you get to rest the head, the shoulders, hands just come down by your thighs, and just reset your posture again even though you're lying down. So you want to roll the shoulder blades down to the back of the ribs. Check the ribs are softening down and not flaring upwards. Once you're there, give your pelvis a little tilt backwards and forwards, and you're going to settle midway to bring yourself to a neutral spine. Now your left foot is nice and light. Your right foot just resting on the ball. Keep the length of the neck and the chin nodded in. As you breathe in, extend your right leg. As you breathe out, just roll it back into the centre. And you're not just rolling your foot. As you're rolling your foot, you're trying to make sure you don't lose your neutral spine. So you're trying to lock that position between your ribs and your hips. Again, sometimes we push forward. It's tempting to let the ribs lift and the back arch. We're trying to keep the pelvis, the spine, the ribs all in set position. And as you breathe in, resist losing set position. As you breathe out, bring the heel back into the centre. See, that's nice and easy. Now we add on your fingertips to your temples, chin tucked in. Now if you struggle with crunches, you can just put one hand behind the head to support the head. You're going to breathe in, extend your leg. As you breathe out, crunch and reach forward, breath in, extend your leg. So again, out breath, lift, reach forward to the centre and roll down. Now remember that your left foot is really, really light. It's tempting sometimes to push through that left foot to try and lift. But the lighter you keep the left foot and keep working to maintain your neutral spine, the more work you're going to feel into your abdominals. And let's just do 2 more here on your right. Keep the chin nodded in, even when you roll back. And then resting at the bottom. Changing feet with the ball, so bring it under your left. Now it's your right foot to stay light. Knees in line with hips. Neutral spine, so just take a second to find your position. Gently drawing the abdominals in, so you've got that set space between your ribs and your hips. Lengthen the neck and tuck in the chin. Light with your right foot as your left leg extends. And then breathe out, gently drawing the ball back into the centre. Let the breath just come in through your nose. Take a little pause. As you breathe out, draw the belly button towards the spine. But try not to push the lower back into the floor, so you are staying in that neutral position. Whenever you're ready, hands come to the head. As your knee comes in, you come into that crunch. Breathing in as you lower down. Breathe out on the lift. And keep breathing out then to reach the hands a little further forward towards the ankles. And as you're reaching a little further forward towards the ankles, you're actually pulling your ribs a little closer towards your hips. You might start to notice you're pushing more down through your right foot now, so keep that right foot as light as possible. And we're going to go with our last 2 here. Then we're going to work both feet together. Have a double ball roll, because you're making that look nice and easy. Now from here, if you don't want to go with the double ball roll, just stay with one side. Do 5 on your right and then 5 again on your left. So now we're going to try and have both feet on the ball. So again, the ball sits in the arch of your foot. Knees come together, your thighs are slightly squeezed, hands to your head, extend both legs. Now try not to let the ribs flare here. This is where you want to come back to your neutral spine. Bring the knees in, reach forward, and then roll back. So it becomes all one move. You start to reach the arms forward as you start to bring in the knees. Then the breath comes in through the nose, out through the mouth. Try not to let your knees separate as you pull them in. So you're keeping your thighs, your ankles, your knees gently squeezing together. We're going to go with another 4 here. Keeping the chin nodded in. And if it's too much for the upper body, just let the head rest. Stay at the top for your next one and hold. Ice your thighs, extend the legs out and your arms up. So you're looking forward towards your knees. You're keeping the ribs held down towards the hips. So the intensity should be through your upper abdominals. And if you're not feeling it there, try and get the ribs a little closer to the hips. And as you extend the legs and the arms, try and keep the ribs pulling down towards your hips for 4. And again, 3, 2, and then your last one. And then rest. Gently, gently down. Place the ball now between your knees. Upper abs get a little rest. We're going to focus on the lower abs to keep the pelvis in neutral. So from here, the heels are behind the hips. You're in neutral spine, so you give your pelvis a little tilt backwards and forwards. Set that distance again between the ribs and hips. Chin nods in, hands just sit by your thighs. Take a breath in. With the out breath, you're just going to squeeze the ball without pressing your lower back into the floor. You're going to breathe in, release about 50%. As you breathe out, you're going to squeeze to 100%. And then breathe in and release to 50. Now again, the key to this one is keeping your pelvis, your spine and your ribs still. So it helps them to get the work into the inner thighs. Sometimes a little bit weaker through the inner thighs, you'll feel your whole body wanting to start to get involved. So again, just make sure your setup's nice and strong. You're in neutral through your hips, your spine and your ribs down to your hips. And then just try and notice that as you squeeze the ball, you're not pressing down into that lower back. Now try and breathe out as you squeeze quite strongly through your mouth. In breath, just releasing halfway, so you're keeping that constant tension on the inner thighs. 2 more. And then with your last one, hold the centre and pulse for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release halfway. Take a breath in, and again your pulse for 10, 9. Make sure the back's not hitting the floor. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release halfway. 2 more sets of 10. So again, strong neutral, so it stays in the inner thighs. The inner thighs are starting to fatigue. Just still make sure you're not pressing the back into the floor. For 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. And one last set. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Hold your 1. Hands back to the ankles and come back into your crunches. Just sliding the hands to the ankles, but keeping that squeeze through your inner thighs. Now again, as you're sliding the hands back to the ankles, you're trying not to press the back into the floor. We add on, so as you come forward, double arm lift, press your hands down and then roll down. Still trying not to lose that squeeze on the ball. Getting the ribs a little closer towards the hips each time. And again, sometimes just holding the ball there between the knees helps us to stay in a better neutral position. And once more. Now staying here, you're going to bring your hands to your chest. You're going to reach to your right knee, then your left knee, your right knee, your left knee. So just reaching from one side to the other. Still squeezing the ball and keeping your chin nodded in. Now try and look past your thigh if you can. Keep the squeeze between the knees. Now try and notice that your hips aren't rocking from side to side. The weight staying even through both feet. 5, 4, 3, near there, 2, and your last one. And rest, come all the way down. Bring the ball behind your knees. A little pinch of the ball. Then go into our reverse crunch. So the chin's knotted in here, shoulders in set position, so the upper abs get to rest, as does the neck. I'm going to come into our reverse crunch. So the knees start above the hips, you're in neutral spine, and I just want you to think about drawing the belly button down towards the back, so you feel your lower back touching the floor. And then knees stop above the hips. You're breathing out, drawing the belly button towards the spine, and a breath in as you release. Now as you keep your ribs here in position, you're thinking about closing that distance between the ribs and hips, but from your pelvis upwards. So you're pulling the pelvis up towards your rib cage, and you're keeping the ribs down as the knees come away. Then when you feel ready, you can come a little further back. So you tilt your pelvis, allow the roll to come through the spine. You can use the arms a little, and then roll back down. And what we're looking for is a really slow, controlled roll on the way back. And again, each time just taking it to where you can. So you may feel this tilts enough. If you feel happy, and you can roll a little higher, come roughly towards the shoulders. And again, still trying to work through each vertebrae as you come down. 4 more. Don't be afraid to use the arms to help you lift. But try and relax the arms on the way down, so you get lots more control and work through the abdominals. Last 2. And it's really good for the spine as well, even if it's just that small pelvic tilt. Good for lower abdominals and really good for getting the back moving. And then resting your feet firmly down on the floor. Okay, when you're ready, take your ball from the back of your knees, tuck in your chin, come up into seated, and then let's come with the feet just out in front of the hips. Ball into the lower back. So the back's there, the ball's there to support your back. And as you tilt back, we get the tilt through the pelvis. So again, we create that little C shape in the spine, so we're not here with a straight back, so that's when our back's more loaded. We squash the ribs and hips, so the tummy muscles are a little bit more engaged. Now we're going to start easy, as always. So the arms just in line with your shoulders. Tailbone is gently tucked. We're going to come to the heel slide. You're going to slide your right leg out and then come back to the centre. Then your left leg and back to the centre. You start to layer in the opposite arm. So your heel just literally slides along the ground. And as one leg moves, the opposite leg stays nice and still. Remember, when you're here, ribs down towards hips and still tilting the pelvis back. So your hip bones are pointing up towards your rib cage. Now agree to your silhouette in that lovely blue sky, looks amazing. Starting to get a little bit more jealous now. Now, a little harder is to bring the feet up off the ground. So you might feel that you want to take your ball a little further down the spine. So you can bring your knees above your hips, but the ball's still supporting the back. Opposite arm, opposite leg. Now you can either keep the feet hovering off the floor, so you're keeping quite low to the ground, or you bring the shins up and you extend one leg out and then the other. And you're reaching your fingertips up to the ceiling, but you're also keeping the ribs held down towards the hips. And once more on each side. And then placing your feet down, having a little rest. Come forward, tucking your chin. Just gently draw the belly back to the spine again, so it just helps to stretch out the lower back. So you've got quite a few options there. We're going to try double legs and double arms, see how it feels. From here, your first option again is just to work with single legs and try double arms with the foot on the floor. Or again, you can lean a little further back, making sure the ball's supporting the back. Lift both feet, either hovering or knees above hips. Breathing in, out to centre. Again, single leg and double arms, or both legs and both arms. Gently squeezing up through the thighs. You can bring your heels a little closer to the floor and really pull the knees back into the centre. 4 left, whatever you are. 4 option. Rest the feet down. Just work with the arms. Maybe a single leg. And your last one. When you have finished that last one, tuck in the chin, come forwards. Walk your feet a little further forward and let your arms come forward to your toes and draw the belly back to the spine. Okay, when you're ready, just rolling back up, restacking your shoulders and bring your ball forward. You're going to take the legs out as wide as you comfortably can. The knees bend a little, that's fine. If you can get the backs of your knees down to the floor, that just helps to encourage you to stretch into your hamstrings. Ball just in front. Now it can be here, the shoulders roll back, the chest is nice and lifted. And when you're ready, you're just going to simply roll the ball forward and ease back. Now as you roll the ball forward, try and keep the arms straight and the back straight. Sometimes that tendency to round into the back. And we spent the first 10 minutes of that class really strengthening and engaging the upper back. So the muscles we used at the beginning, re-engage those, pull the shoulder blades back, draw them down. And as you hinge forward, trying to maintain that nice length into the spine. As you feel you're keeping the length in the spine, you won't need to come as far forward before you find the stretch in the inner thighs maybe down to the hamstrings. And don't force it, just allow that stretch. Just to gently kick in and then ease it off. Not to a point of pain, just letting you know it's all safe. And you go a little further whenever you're ready. Your last one. And then as you come into the centre, bring your ball towards your right shin, knee or ankle, however far the arm reaches. Lifting up your left arm and reaching to the ceiling, you're going to push the ball to the ankle and gently C-shape your spine and then roll it back. So you're breathing out, just feeling the side bend, and breathing in with the lift. And because we're working to get into the stretch, the breathing is slightly different. You breathe out to ease into the stretch, and then breathe in to lift. And again, out and go. In and lift. And twice more. Now keep trying to gently press back into your left hip, so you're keeping that left hip anchored to the ground. Now stay here if you can, and just take a little pulse with the arm. Just gently reaching over towards the toes. Now again, you might feel you're here and you're reaching up, which is fine. Or you might be coming all the way over. So again, just as long as you're finding the stretch in the waist, that's where you want it. 3, 2, 1, and to centre. Changing sides. So ball towards the ankle. Breathe and lift your arm. And again, just roll the ball towards the ankle and just tip a little through the upper body. It doesn't have to be big. But what you're trying to do is keep the arm straight as you reach over. Sometimes that tendency is just to bend the elbow. Feel like you're reaching over towards the toes. At the same time, you're pushing, slide the ball towards the ankle. Breathing in with the lift, and then breathing out to go further. In through the nose, out through your mouth, and twice more again. On your next one, you're going to stay at that pulse. So again, wherever the arm is, you might want to gently pulse over. Breathing out each little push, and again, for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and come back in to the centre. You can pop your ball to the side for now. We're going to come over onto hands and knees and just gently work our way back up. So hands come in under the shoulders, knees are placed in under the hips. I think we'll go for a few little wags of our tail today. So you're going to gently push the shoulders forward over the heels of your hands, lengthen through the back of the neck, keep the ribs and the shoulders still. Little tuck under with your tailbone, and then just allow your hips to gently wag from side to side. This is the bit lexical teachers. And again, keep the even weight placed in both hands. And start to turn your head. So as your hip comes to your right, turn your head to the right. And it goes to the left, turn the head to the left. Again, still not allowing the rib cage to move. So we're just trying to open up the lower back on each side. Once more, each side. And then into the centre, tuck under with the toes, walk your hands back. Whenever you're ready, try and roll back to the feet. If you can get the heels down, great. If you can't, don't worry. Lean into the hands, push it through the balls of your feet or your heels, and then try and get the heels down as soon as you're ready. Fingers slide back to the toes. You're lengthening the back of the neck, just allowing the head to hang for a few seconds, and the belly lifting towards the spine so it supports the back. And then in your own time, just a nice gentle restack, a nice gentle roll back up through the spine. That tuck under at the bottom as soon as you're ready. And each vertebrae coming up one and the next, till the head rises and the shoulders just melt down. And in your own time, a few little shoulder circles, just up in the chest, back up, drawing those shoulder blades right down into the back of your ribs. Use the in breath as you lift them, and the out breath as you pull them down. And one more time. And resting in the centre. Have a little wrap, just release the waist, let the arms just swing, but try and keep the hips still. A little glance from one side over to the other. and I'm resting in the centre with your perfect posture. And then you can applaud yourself. Well done, ladies and gents.